Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast. We watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
I'm Ben.
Oh my God, Benjamin. Season fucking 6. All right, that was weird.
That was my excited yodel.
You know, never mind.
What?
Nothing.
What are you going to say?
I was going to talk about something that I don't think you want me to talk about on the podcast.
You can cut it.
No, I think you'd rather me just not say it.
Oh, okay. Can you tell me after?
Well, the point of me not saying it is I think it... No. I will, but I'm not going to say it on the podcast.
Okay.
Let's just say it has to do with you, that noise, and something else.
I have no clue.
Exactly.
On a slightly related note, Bob, you're a stupid piece of shit.
Oh, my God. We just talked about
I
this
know we
before
did,
the fucking podcast.
But not for the audience. So, on our last movie episode of season 5, which was Scream, which was our last recording session, there was a clip. And I said, Bob, if you don't put this clip in here, you're just dumb. And I'm going to make fun of you for the next 2 weeks. So this is me making fun of Bob.
And
he didn't include it.
See, Ben was like, you should include it. And he was assuming that I would just exclude it because out of, what?
Laziness?
Laziness and
You
or
were like, I can't find it. I was like, it's the first 5 seconds.
laziness and or me wanting to not make myself look like a total fool on that episode, even though I totally was. I just forgot. Like, honestly, I told him a second ago, I cut the entire episode, finished the edit, exported it, uploaded it, and went, oh yeah, I forgot to cut that clip from the first 5 seconds of the video. Whatever. I don't care.
Whatever.
And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it adds that much because we say it before it happens, so it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought I should explain myself and explain that I wasn't being lazy. I'm just stupid.
That's fair. I'm not upset with you, but I promised I would make fun of you. So
yeah, okay.
This is me making fun of you.
Okay.
Aside from that, do you have any fun announcements or anything?
Oh yeah. Okay. So I was saving this for the podcast. But I kind of gave Ben a little bit of a teaser because we had to do some behind the scenes work before this, so we spent about an hour and a half discussing other bullshit and working on other stuff. And I told you all last 2
weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, Jesus fucking Christ.
When we recorded Scream.
Yeah, when we recorded Scream, because that's when I told you it was on that episode, that I was going to see The Exorcist in theaters with my dad. And I've never seen that movie in theaters. I'd only seen it on the podcast. That movie is so fucking good. I seeing it in theaters is like a whole different experience, right?
Was it the surround sound?
Yes, actually. The surround sound and like being on a big screen like that, holy fucking shit is that movie good. Like I knew it was like good before. Like I like that movie. I've said before I think it's a nearly perfect film. That movie is fucking phenomenal. And what's really weird is I didn't get scared on the episode we did for it. Cuz that movie is, I wouldn't say it's scary by today's standards, but when it came out, it was. That movie's scary. Like, I genuinely, it's unsettling in, the weirdest way possible, but it's because I got so much more
into it
because I was sitting in a theater in the dark with a bunch of other people who are into it, and, my God.
I mean, yeah,
so good.
Watching in theaters is always a different experience.
Yeah, man. So good.
Always great. It's why if you ever have the money, you can get a nice home theater
with
all the surround sound and a dark
Could you
room.
imagine if we could record in something like that?
It'd be fun.
That'd be crazy. But, we're both broke.
We'll figure it out eventually.
Eventually. God, I could never. That is so much money, Ben. So much money I don't have. But it'd be cool.
Aside from that, though?
And also, so this is a separate aside. I was working on some short form content, and I think that has come out by the time this has come out. Because I'm probably going to put it out before then.
I just helped Bob finish it.
Well, it helped me solve a problem that I had. Or a problem that Ben had. I didn't really care.
Bob doesn't care. He doesn't care about the quality.
No, I do care, but it was something that it wasn't particularly important to me, but it seemed important to Ben. So, and also, looking at it from 2 perspectives is great because sometimes I care about something and Ben doesn't care about it, but sometimes Ben cares about something that I don't care about. So it's good to have, 2 opinions on things. Anyway. That piece of short form content count, but I was working on that, and it's a clip from Day of the Dead. So while I was working on it, I was also rewatching Day of the Dead on my TV while I was working on it because, video editing, I don't need the audio as much because it's a set clip because it's short form, so I didn't have to, mess with audio. So I was mostly just messing with video clips that were silenced so I could, listen to something at the same time. Still my favorite movie of all time. I love that movie. That movie is so fucking good.
Day of the Dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, that movie fucking hits. I got to the part. I'm not gonna give spoilers because that movie is phenomenal. You should go watch it if you haven't. Where someone dies, and I almost threw up again.
Oh, the really gross death?
Yeah. I almost threw up again. And I've seen it before.
It's a good scene.
Good fucking movie, man.
On a slightly unrelated note, just because I want to mention this before we move on and actually get to the legitimate podcast.
Yeah.
Exorcist Believer's out now.
Oh my God.
Me and Bob have been talking shit while we're at work because he'll text me some bullshit. And he sent me a very, very funny quote from Friedkin.
I gotta figure out where that's from.
Which was something along the lines of, I heard they're remaking my movie, you know, like my masterpiece, and I think I'd rather die than see that in theaters.
Yeah. And he got his wish.
He got his wish.
I think he specifically said he would come back and haunt David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell.
He was giving him shit because it's the same guy who produced the
new Halloween.
Well, that and I think Pineapple Express.
Here it is. You want to
read it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the full quote.
No, just read the one you got.
Well, here we go. The guy who made these new Halloweens is about to make one to my movie, The Exorcist. That's right. My signature film was about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens, but if there's a spirit world and I come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell.
I just want to say it's very funny that he got his wish.
It's awesome. And I literally said to Ben before this, I hope he's haunting him right now.
But on an actual point, that movie is not doing well.
No.
It has not been out very long, so final reviews aren't like in.
Yeah.
But for anyone who's curious and hasn't looked it up himself, Rotten Tomatoes, right?
Yep.
Which tends to have, I think, a better description because it's separated between, you know, specifically critics and audience score. Gave it a 23% for the tomato meter.
Good.
So that's the critics. And, you know, the audience, who usually rate it higher, 55.
God damn.
And if you're wondering what the aggregated score on IMDb is, it's only a 5.2, which is
oh my God,
not great.
So, you know, I try not to
So let's go back to that guy's quote of this is going to be a better film.
Never. Literally impossible. Get out of here, you fucking scumlord.
Don't call him a scumlord, Bob. That went too far.
I don't care. That quote makes me so angry.
It does, which is really funny.
I haven't seen the film, and I don't know anything about the film other than people are just dunking on it.
Oh, there's something in there that's going to annoy Bob.
My friend Brian went and saw the film, and we were talking about it last night in our chat. You know, just vague shit, because he was like, I saw it. He called it mid as fuck, and it shouldn't even exist. And then he was like, yeah, but Saw X was pretty good. And I was like, nice. So just so you know, other people are giving me their opinion on this movie, and I'm excited to never see it.
I just like the description of mid as fuck.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, he said it should never exist, which is my key thing for it's a remake.
It's a soft reboot.
A soft reboot. They need a reason to exist. And he literally said it doesn't need it. Doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, well, don't worry. We have to watch a bunch of other Exorcist sequels before we get to that one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot there are a bunch of sequels that I don't care about. Because the first one, in and of itself, is a perfect story.
All right, so you ready to just get to the board? New board, fresh board.
I guess.
Unspoiled.
Unspoiled. That's a good point. Unspoiled. I have all 9 spots.
Except by Bob's category.
Oh, my God. Are we doing this again? Every fucking season.
Okay, this season was an actual issue. And I'll address it when we finally touch on your category, but I have some shit to say.
Okay, fucker.
It's fine. I'm not mad at you. It's not your fault.
He's not mad at me, but you can't see the vitriol in his eyes right now.
It was
I
frustrating.
Can. He's like a gator in the swamp, and you can just see his evil eyeballs.
Oh, a saltwater crocodile?
Yeah. You know what? Let me let you air your grievances out immediately.
Let me go through the categories.
Okay.
And then we'll get to it.
Okay.
So, first category is Slurposaurs.
Dumb name.
It's a funny name.
Dumb though.
Funny name. But that's a technique in cinema, if anyone's unfamiliar with it, which I'm sure most of you are. But
yeah,
it's where you take like a real life animal and you make it play something that it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So the classic example in horror is tarantula.
Yeah,
which is spelled with an E at the end, not an A.
Tarantul?
Yeah, I think so. Tarantul. It's a weird. I know. No, it's an A. I'm sorry, I was wrong.
No. Liar.
I don't know why I thought that was an E.
I don't know.
I thought I saw like a poster somewhere there for with an E, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Anyways, classic example is tarantula, because they get a real life tarantula to play a giant tarantula.
Yeah.
There's more egregious examples of it, and that's kind of what we'll be looking at this season. And I kind of gave the disclaimer on the wrap-up episode for Season 5 that the movies for the spots I picked are very much not horror movies.
Yeah.
This is an older technique, and so back when these movies came out, they were a little bit more, I don't know, thrilling than they're going to be today. Today we're going to look at them and kind of laugh and think they're goofy.
Sure.
But they could have had some legitimate scare factor back when they came out. So that's what I'm letting slide under the radar as horror-esque. But to be honest, they're more, I don't know, science fiction-y, kind of 50s schlock.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing is, from what I can tell, this category is very much going to be horror sci-fi.
Yeah, but I'm stepping away kind of from the horror thing this season for my category. Not because I want to, but because the best examples of this technique are in non-horror films. So we're just going to be looking at some like really good example films instead, because it is a technique that was used in horror a good amount back in the 50s and 60s monster era. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is really cool.
With that being said, I'm going to give this disclaimer again, because it uses real animals, and this is back before, animal cruelty laws existed. There's some bad animal stuff sometimes. So, yeah, it's not great.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's really not great. I don't like it. I know I have a bigger issue with that than Bob does, but I thought I should give a disclaimer
before we start watching those films.
Yeah, it's kind of the sad part. Because you definitely don't need to have animal cruelty.
No, absolutely not.
But
I mean, you shouldn't.
A lot of the classic examples do, because people didn't care. Our second category, though, on a more positive note, was my random pick. Season 5, because that's the second time that's happened.
Bullshit.
I swear to God.
We never get my randoms.
Not on purpose.
My randoms are good.
In fact, if it was on purpose, we would have gotten cancels. But I chose pre-code movies.
Yeah, that's a good category.
I thought that was a really cool category. But if you don't know what pre-code films are, basically way, way, way back in the day of early Hollywood, there wasn't really any rules about what you could put in films.
No, it was kind of like the Wild West.
Kind of like the Wild West. And, before, like, the MPAA came around with the ratings board, there was straight up, like, these codes about what you could do in a film. I don't know the specifics, because it's been a while since I took my film history class. But I think, like, one of the classic examples of you couldn't have the villain win.
Yeah.
Like, that was a code law.
There are a bunch of ridiculous rules.
And so, point being is that films, especially, like, suspense and horror films, after the codes happened, were very, like, toned down and just kind of, I think in a lot of ways, what we think of classic films as being, like, very just kind of approachable and for a general audience.
Yeah.
But pre-code films are weird because they don't really have a lot of restrictions on content. So you can do some messed up things that you wouldn't normally think of being in a classic movie. Like stuff you would be like, oh, that's some messed up shit I expect to see nowadays in film. Which is a weird thing to see. But also, because it's so early in, like, film history, they don't necessarily have all the techniques down for film yet. So you get to see a lot of unique stylistic stuff as well. So that should be an interesting category. A lot of old films.
I'm very, very excited for
in
that
fact,
one.
both of those categories for me are old films this season.
Yeah.
And then our last category, the last and least category.
God damn it.
Is neo-monster movies.
Yeah.
And, look, Bob, I'm going to be honest here. You chose two categories. You chose your random, which was...
Splatterpunk.
Splatterpunk.
Yeah.
Good choice.
It's a good category. It's
good,
cool.
Good category. And then you chose neo-monster movies.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not going to blame you because, like, when you have to look at categories, you can't really research the movies.
No, I just have to find a cool category. Or what's one that I think is cool.
But, see, the issue with neo-monster movies is it's too small of a genre. It's basically, it was hard to find anything on it.
Sure.
Like 5 web pages, kind of hard to find stuff on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Bob was like, let me help you out. He was like, here's a mega list of monster movies? I was like, I saw this list, Bob. There's 5 movies on here.
Well, yeah, because I saw that it was a list and went, oh, there's probably like a good amount of movies on here.
Basically, the issue that I think ended up happening is it's probably a term someone, like one person coined that never caught on. So it's not standardized or really used anywhere.
See, the thing is, I found a giant like an infographic with a bunch of horror movie subgenres on it, and that was one of them on there. I went, that seems like a cool category.
I know. It technically exists because I'm sure someone's coined it and other people have picked it up, but it wasn't popular enough to get like explicitly defined. And like,
I see, but I gave you a definition on the episode.
It was still a little iffy, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I did kind of like your definition, and I did some research, and I was able to come up with one that I think I'm going to use for this season. Well, yeah. But it was a very sketchy category, because it was like, what differentiates this from just creature features? And then also, like, because to be honest, one of the definitions I found for Neo monster movies basically was everything that isn't Universal monster movies.
Yeah, that was the big point that I made when I chose the category was I didn't want to watch the Universal monster movies.
Which is just another word for creature features, basically, you know?
But I didn't want to watch just creature features either. I wanted monster movies that don't fit those two categories.
I know, Bob, but what you're giving me is you're going, I want every single movie ever, but also not every movie ever. It's very unspecific.
Sure.
It was very frustrating.
Oh, we have a really funny text message thing where Ben was like, so basically every monster movie ever, and I went, no, not all of them. He said 90%, and I went, I mean, maybe. It was very funny.
Anyways, basically what I'm trying to say is you both gave me the most general category ever, but you also weren't, like, specific enough for me to have an easy time, like, the freedom to choose. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
It was basically a very frustrating situation because, like, I wanted to keep with your category, but because I couldn't define it basically at all, it was like I had no direction. It was basically like every monster movie ever, but also maybe not. A very frustrating position to be in.
Oh, God.
So
maybe I should have swapped them.
Bad category. Well,
Damn it.
We would have had to deal with it eventually. I'm just saying, like, it might turn out pretty well because I have come up with my own defining definition I'm going to use.
Sure.
Here.
Okay.
But just as a general rule, basically non-existent genre that we chose here. So
Sick.
Sick.
Love that.
Very, very frustrating. I texted Bob at one point. I was like, I've chosen all the other spots except for yours.
Which is awesome.
But the definition I ended up coming to here is for Neo monster movies. Is I was kind of inspired by Bob saying not like Universal monster films.
Yeah.
So the way I ended up defining this is we are going to be watching monster movies that preferably focus on one monster, although there could be multiple of the same type, that are humanoid, but are not any of the classic monster archetypes. So no werewolves, no vampires.
No zombies.
No zombies. They're
Cool.
kind of something unique. And then very specifically, I wanted things that were a little bit less than human. Because even though they're humanoid, I wanted them to be, you know,
okay,
a little bit on the slightly more feral side.
Okay, I'm trying to think of an example I could give for the audience from we've seen. Something a la the monster in Splinter, maybe?
Not exactly.
Or maybe the monsters in... Wolves are aliens, technically, in Pandorum.
Maybe closer to the stuff in Pandorum.
Okay.
To be honest, even with that definition, it was a hard choice for me.
Okay.
Like, I was struggling to fill these 3 spots.
Really?
Even then. Because I was like, there's films I can think of, but even with my definition, it wasn't, like, a great one. You know?
Okay.
No guiding light here. But
sure.
I was able to fill the 3 spots. And there's movies in there. Not sure if I love all of them together, but...
Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay.
They're not bad, so it should be an interesting category.
Sure.
I think.
I'll spoil this now. You've chosen the scariest type of creature, or monster in my opinion.
Humanoid?
Humanoid creatures.
Oh, especially
like that.
since most humanoid monsters eat people.
Oh.
Like 99% of them.
That's one of the only reasons the taking of Deborah Logan is scary. It's because it's just some old bitch.
You just don't like old people.
I don't like old people. They're scary. They're so fucking scary. Okay. Well, like I started saying before we went on this tangent, I'm going to give you your wish. You got to define my category, so we're going to start here. Like, I think I pick my category at the start of almost every season. Because most of the time, it's the one I'm most excited for.
That's fair. And also, we have my category, which is straight up just probably, it's just not horror.
No.
Let's be honest here.
And, like, this is a horror podcast.
There's some horrific elements because...
Animal abuse.
Maybe animal abuse, but also the intent of when it came out. Maybe some more thrilling scenes. So there's that. And then... pre-code films are just so old.
I will say, I think pre-code is like so interesting, and I'm so excited.
I love pre-code films. In fact, there was very much an issue of there is too many films, and I can only fill 3 spots.
3, yeah.
It was very frustrating. And there was one film I really wanted to put on the board, but it definitely couldn't go on the board because it was too close to my category.
Oh, that
I can just tell you what movie it was.
What was it?
King Kong.
Yo.
I really wanted to pick King Kong on the pre-code films, but I was like, it's too close.
That would be so cool.
Because it's kind of like monster movies.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're right. Also,
but technically pre-code films, so.
Technically, yeah. Before I tell you what spot I want, I've told you what category I'm doing. We need a name for the season, but I can't come up with a good one. And my closest thing I have is, because like we have 2 categories that are basically monster films, right? Or types of monster films. But how do we work in pre-code? That's my struggle I'm having. But we'll come up with one by the end of the season.
New Code Red Slurpee.
Oh.
I don't fucking know.
I don't know either.
Choose your...
You're usually good at that kind of thing.
Spot. Yeah, but I have to think about it. We usually don't come up with a name till the end of the season.
Well, last time we came up with one halfway through that, but you apparently had the entire time.
Yeah.
And you just didn't tell me, which is awesome. Okay, I got all 3 spots. Well, what's number 2?
Number 2?
I'm just winging it. Fuck it, we ball.
You're not going to choose one like you do most seasons?
That's why I didn't choose one.
All right. Number 2?
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be an interesting way to start a season.
Oh, God.
God's right. We're doing Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it.
I'm going to ask Bob, why are you upset?
Oh, well, first of all, this movie traumatized me as a child.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I saw, and I don't, it might not be this one, but in one of them, there's a school bus.
2.
It's in 2. I saw something that happened on that school bus, and I lost my mind. Something we haven't talked about is also, I'm afraid of
school buses?
Things that can, like, shapeshift in shape change. So Jeepers Creepers is scary humanoid monster thing that can shape change. Not fun for me.
So is that why you're upset?
Yes, but also the other thing also sucks.
Yeah, let me mention that other thing. So
what is this, like 2 in a row?
Yeah. So I have a weird feelings about this movie, right?
Sure.
Not necessarily watching it. I think it's a fine movie. But my issue is kind of like reviewing it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because one of the people associated with this film has done some bad things.
Some pretty horrific things, in fact.
And I don't really want to support him.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a hard thought to put this on this movie on the board because I was like, I don't really like you. Don't really want to review your movie. If you're wondering, it's the writer-director, and we'll get to him in a minute. But I eventually came to the conclusion that, I know a lot of people like this movie.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of unfair to be like, oh, we're just never going to touch this movie ever.
I mean, we did Scream, right?
Yeah, we did Scream, and that's associated with some
not so great people.
Not so great people. But, more importantly, movies are different than, like, books or something. There's a bunch of people that work on a movie, and it feels kind of wrong to discredit, like, a lot of their hard work just because of one person.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, this person's very important to the film and
the
franchise.
I mean, absolutely.
Which doubly sucks. But yeah, we're just going to review the film anyways. Yeah. If you're wondering, the writer-director is Victor Salva, and he's also worked on like all the other films as writer-director, including Jeepers Creepers 2. And he's the one who's kind of done the not great stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're really going to talk about it here.
No.
Because this doesn't really seem like the place for that. But if you're interested, you can go look it up. It's really easy to find.
Yeah.
And it's not great. So I'd recommend if you think you're going to have issues with it, go look it up.
Yeah.
So you can tell if you want to like even interact with this film. So that's my warning right there. Aside from that, I don't really want to mention him anymore. So we're just going to start talking about the film.
We're going to move on.
Yeah, and just kind of not talk about him, hopefully, ever again.
Yeah.
But for the description, a brother and sister take a road trip through the countryside.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
This is what a simple plot for a film.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this one. I think you might have seen the second one.
I don't know.
Because you said the school bus.
The school bus is what I specifically
That's
remember.
explicitly the second one.
Mm.
And I'm guessing you didn't see the full movie.
No.
Because you left, of course.
Uh-huh.
It's an hour and 30 minutes long.
Oh, it has been so long since we've watched a normal length film on this podcast.
I know, it's real nice. It's rated R.
Awesome.
IMDb gave it a 6.2 out of 10.
That's pretty fucking good.
It's pretty high. The Rotten Tomato scores are a bit lower, though.
Okay.
Tomato Meter gave it a 45%.
That's still not that bad.
And the audience score 49%.
That's still not that
pretty
bad.
Middling.
I'm going to be honest. We've watched some pretty bad films on this podcast.
We have, haven't we?
So my standards are like coming into a movie where I sort of know the premise, and it's kind of like a monster movie. That is not bad at all.
No, it's not. And again, I don't think this film is bad. Middling is probably a good review for it.
Sure.
But there is some really good things, especially the monster.
See, that's the thing. I think I'm going to have fun with it.
The monster's pretty unique. I will say this now. You've seen scenes from the second movie, I think, but I can tell you're misremembering them.
Okay.
Because I think how you think this monster works is not how it actually works.
Sick.
So just a heads up there.
That's
fun.
fun.
I think what you have in your head right now is shapeshifter.
Well, kind of.
It's not exactly right. Just thought I should pre-warn you. Because sometimes you go in with your own like little ideas and then you're disappointed when they don't actually happen.
Yeah, sure.
Awards, it has 5 wins and 7 nominations.
It's pretty good.
Pretty decent. The really notable actors I want to mention here are Gina Phillips as Trish Jenner. She was the voice of Daisy in Doom Annihilation, which was not the old Doom movie. It's the new one. That's not good.
Okay, I was trying to think of what you were talking about.
Not the one with The Rock.
Yeah.
Not that one.
Like the new one.
The new one.
I haven't seen it.
Which is bad.
Okay.
It's not good.
Good to know.
Don't watch it.
Nice.
It doesn't have Doom Guy in it.
Wait, then what's the point?
It has... I'm just going to call her Doom Girl because I don't remember her name, but she's just generic female character.
Okay. I mean, that can work, but...
It can work, but like... is Doom, and I want to see Doom Guy.
Yeah, that's my point.
I want to see this big guy in power armor. I don't even want to see his face.
No.
I don't want him to talk.
No, I just want him to blow up demons.
Just want him to chainsaw a demon.
Yeah, that's the point.
It basically, not to go on too big of a tangent, the original Doom movie is not great.
No, it's not good.
But it's cheesy fun, and I can tell that they kind of tried.
Sure.
Have you seen it?
I've seen parts of it. I never finished.
There's a first-person sequence at the end of the movie where one of the characters just goes Doom Guy on shit.
That's awesome.
And it's not like great, but it's cool.
Yeah.
And this new movie, it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like a Doom game. At the very least, that first movie, while not great, and definitely not a good Doom adaptation, at least I can tell tried. Whereas the new movie felt like generic sci-fi film from Sci-Fi the channel that they just kind of slapped the Doom logo on.
That sucks.
So yeah, not great. Next up, Justin Long.
I fucking knew Justin Long was in this movie.
Yeah.
I love him.
As Derry Jenner.
Hell yeah.
Played Brandon in Galaxy Quest. Great movie.
Justin Long is so good.
What do you like him in?
I haven't.
Have you seen Galaxy Quest?
Parts of it.
Bob, just go watch Galaxy Quest. It's great. Well, do you like Star Trek?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Whole thing's a big Star Trek spoof.
Okay.
There's so many good jokes though for like if you really, really, really like classic Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
isn't he also? Oh god, he's in something else that I can't remember. What is he in? I know he's in Barbarian, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is really good, and he's really good in it apparently.
I haven't seen Barbarian yet either, so I don't know off the top of my head. He's in Tusk. I believe.
Oh god. So, you don't know the fucking hey.
I like Tusk.
No, you don't know.
Not necessarily a great movie,
No,
but I like it.
No, Ben.
It's
You
kind
have
of funny.
no fucking idea the can of worms you just unlocked.
Have you seen it?
No, but all of my other friends, Hunter, if you're listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All of my other friends fucking love Tusk. And I've never seen it. I don't want to see it. But if you mention Tusk in front of them, the absolute mayhem that it causes, it's like every single one of my other friends is like a sleeper agent, and Tusk just makes them go ape shit. One time anytime we used to hang out and play D&D, someone would bring up Tusk, and it would be the end of days. It would be like the apocalypse that just occurred. It was fucking ridiculous. I also don't want to watch that movie because it's fucking gross.
I mean, fair enough.
Like, it's very Fly-esque, except it's a fucking walrus. And that's gross.
Well, on a more pleasant note, go watch Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
And there's, again, so many good jokes if you're a big fan of Star Trek.
I gotta look up about Justin Long as him, because I like this guy.
My favorite joke from there, though, because it's so subtle, and you won't catch it unless you're a fan of, like, the original series, is the Klingons, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what, like, the Klingons looked like in the original Star Trek versus, like, Next Generation?
Yeah.
Okay, what did they look like originally?
Well, we watched didn't we watch a clip about this?
We might have. I think we might have, actually.
Yeah, well, they were very,
Racist?
Yes, I didn't want to... Yes.
Yeah, so original Klingons are very racist, and then Klingons in, Next Generation are not anymore, because they were like, let's fix this.
Yeah.
And one of the characters in Galaxy Quest is played by Tony Shalhoub, and he's Fred Kwan, but he's a white guy, and he's supposed to be Asian. And it's,
nice.
It's a very bad reference, but it's very on point for good writing.
Yeah. Sorry to continue to go on another tangent about Justin Long. I looked up what movies he's in. He's in a bunch of shit. He's in he's in Clerks. I didn't know that. I've never seen it. He's in a bunch of like wild shit, like Dodgeball.
He's done a bunch of stuff.
That movie is very funny. He's in this. I meant to send you the trailer. There's a new Christmas slasher coming out called "It's a Wonderful Knife."
I know. I've already seen it, Bob.
He's in that.
I know. I've already seen the trailer for that, Bob.
So cool.
You always send me trailers. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting, Bob. I already saw it. Oh, my favorite. Bob sent me a trailer for this movie about the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
There was 2 comments on the trailer on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
2.
Nice.
The first one was, I didn't know Asylum had a European department.
That's awesome.
All right. Completely sidetracked, but we're back on track.
No.
Next up is Jonathan Breck as the Creeper.
Oh.
Interestingly enough, from what I can tell, he plays the Creeper in all the movies, which is
That is so nice.
super cool to see. He played Coach Gordon in Everybody Wants Some. Patricia Belcher as Jezzel Gay Hartman. She is kind of famous.
Oh.
Like, she's one of those faces where you'll recognize her, but you probably won't know her name because she's in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Especially television. I've know her from a couple of different things. But she played Edna, the ward nurse, in Flatliners.
I don't know that.
Good movie if you've ever seen it. I'm going to bring something up I talk about sometimes. She's Caroline Julian from Bones.
Oh.
She's the lawyer that works with, like, the FBI. I think she's a lawyer. She's an older woman.
I've watched any Bones.
She was also on Good Luck Charlie.
Oh, well, as who?
She was the next door neighbor.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Did that do it for you?
Yeah, I watched so much of that show as a kid because I had younger sisters and they would watch Disney Channel, and that would be on, and I would just be like, I guess I'm watching this now.
Well, there you go. That's who she was.
Cool.
Next up, Eileen Brennan as the cat lady.
Okay, cool.
She played Miss Peacock in Clue.
I've never seen Clue.
Yeah, cool movie though.
I've heard it's good, actually.
It has a weird thing at the end where they had different endings depending on what theater you were in.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then finally, Brandon Smith as Sergeant Davis Tubbs.
Not Tubbs.
He's played a lot of sheriffs.
Oh,
like
sick.
The top 4 like most famous things for him.
Sheriffs.
Sheriffs or deputies and stuff.
This guy must play an archetype, huh?
I guess. But he played Sheriff Huckabee in Bernie.
I don't know what that is.
We've already mentioned the writer-director, so let's not talk about that again. Budget was estimated at $10 million.
That's actually a lot of money. And when did this come out? 2001?
2001, yes.
That's a lot of money in 2001.
With a box office of...
Especially for a horror movie,
Do
too.
you want to guess box office?
Ooh. Well, I know this movie... So here's my thing. I know this film is popular, but did it do well when it came out, or is it one of those films that got popular afterwards?
So it's gotten 2 sequels and a remake over 23 years.
I actually didn't know there was a remake. I knew there was at least 1 sequel.
Yeah. So not, like, great, but not bad. Definitely not, Friday the 13th, 1, 2, 3 on years?
Yeah. Let's say 23 million.
23 million?
Yeah.
You're going to have to double that. It's 59.4.
Holy fuck.
It did pretty good.
Damn, son. That's sick.
Country of origins, United States.
Yeah, okay.
The working title in the U.S. was Here Comes the Boogeyman.
Okay.
Pretty
That's
decent.
not bad.
Not like the most original thing ever, but it's okay.
No, it's not bad.
Tagline.
Ooh.
What's eating you?
Oh, God. No.
Bob was like, I'm safe from cannibals. Technically, it's not cannibals
I'm
because it's a
I'm about to be a
monster.
trash can.
But it's just a humanoid monster, so it's kind of close.
Yeah, that's why.
If you didn't know, the name of the film comes from a song from the 1930s of the same name.
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers.
Mm.
Get a load of some peepers.
Oh, God. Oh, I wonder if they're going to use the song. That'd be kind of cool.
They do.
That's awesome, actually.
It's
See,
a good
that's
song.
sick as fuck.
I just like that song, irregardless of this movie. In fact, that song is my favorite part of this movie. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
That sounds like it's probably a bad thing.
I just like that song.
I mean, I guess.
It sounds kind of creepy, especially how they use it in this
No,
film.
it is very creepy. It's very much like 1, 2, Freddy's Coming for You-esque.
Yeah.
Like, children's rhyme that is inexplicably scary for no reason.
Next up, the film was shot like over 2 months in
Okay.
Florida.
Oh, okay, cool.
At a bunch of different places in like Central Florida. So like Ocala, Dunellen, Reddick, and Lake Pennasacoffee. Pennasaufkee? Pennasaufkee.
I don't
That's how
know.
you pronounce it. There's some weird Florida names.
I mean, yeah, Florida has some wild place names.
Aside from that, I think the only other thing I really want to talk about is that due to the budget cuts, the last third of the movie was rewritten during production.
Oh. Whoa.
Which was a little awkward.
Okay.
Not always the greatest thing, but you got to do what you got to do. And from what I could find, a lot of people, including like critics and moviegoers, think that the film, at least parts of it at the beginning, are inspired by the case of Dennis Depew, murderer.
Okay.
Although this has never been like confirmed by Salva, because writer director.
Mm-hmm.
He has stated though that there is inspiration for this film from Night of the Living Dead and Duel.
I don't know what Duel is.
Do you want me to tell you?
Is it a horror movie?
Yes.
Nah, save it.
Okay. I can definitely see the inspiration for both of those films.
Okay.
That's all
cool.
I'm going to say.
I mean, we've Steve Knight on the podcast. I like that movie.
All right, that's all I got
Okay.
for facts about this film, because I didn't really want to go into too much there. I'm going to be honest.
Fair enough.
Just because of what this film is.
I'm excited for Justin Long.
I'm glad you're excited for Justin Long.
Okay. Well, see you guys in a minute.
All right, see ya.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Jeepers Creepers. Well, normally you'd ask me a question right now, and you're just silently looking at me like a fool.
So, how do you like it?
It's very different than what I expected.
Bob saw about 2 minutes of the most intense part of the second movie and expected this first movie to be that.
I think that is correct, yes. I think that is exactly what
That
happened.
is exactly my understanding of the situation.
Yeah.
And overall, you were shocked,
Yes.
but did you like it?
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Yeah. What I'll say right here for anyone who's kind of confused by Bob's confusion, the first movie is kind of a mystery in the sense that you don't know what the creeper is.
Yeah.
And in the second movie, you've seen the first movie, so you already know.
Yeah.
And so things pick up like right at the high point of like, oh, it's out in the open.
Yep.
So tonally, they're very different. This movie is a lot more like a, Bob, you said a slasher? Kind of film?
I was saying the second movie feels more like a slasher.
A classic slasher.
Yeah.
Like this one. Like the old school, like Halloween, the original one, where it's slow and building.
Yeah.
And then the second one's like a late stage, like Jason X kind of thing.
Yeah, because you've seen...
Although I'd say the
The
second
creeper.
one's closer to creature feature.
Yeah,
for
I mean, because the
various
creeper is
reasons.
definitely a fucking creature.
Or something.
He's something, dude. I don't know what the hell he is.
On that note, though, I think we're going to go into a rough description, and then we can talk about it.
Sure.
But basically, the description here is basically what I gave earlier. It's about this pair of siblings, and they're driving down a country road to take them home to the place where they belong.
God damn it.
I don't think it's West Virginia. I'm going to assume it's Florida, just because that's where it's shot.
Sure, why not? Like, bumfuck nowhere, Florida.
But it could literally be anywhere.
Also the county names, definitely Florida.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Anywhere in the Bible Belt, at the very least.
That's fair. Also fair.
But long story short, they're driving down the highway, and up behind them comes this maniac truck.
Dude, it looks like something straight out of Mad Max.
Bob, what the license plate say?
Beating you.
Yeah. Long story short, it tries to drive them off the road. They get freaked out, but it passes them. And while they're driving down the road, they eventually see the truck stopped. And when they see the truck stopped, they see a guy throwing what looks like lawn trimmings.
Yes, red lawn trimmings.
Lawn trimmings wrapped in white sheets, tied with rope, vaguely human-shaped, and with red spots.
Yeah, definitely just lawn trimmings.
Into this hole. And
it's a pipe.
It's a pipe, but it's a hole into the ground.
Yeah.
And
sort of like a trash chute.
Yeah, basically a trash chute, but it goes into the basement of this building, this abandoned church, as we eventually find. And of course, they freak out and drive away.
Well, yeah, as a reasonable human being should.
But this dude saw them, and then runs them off the road.
Yep.
And they decide it's a good idea to go check.
No, not they. Don't you dare say they.
They both agreed to go check.
No.
On the tube that leads to the lawn
Derry
trimmings.
Wants to go back.
And the things start to spiral from there.
Yeah.
So that's the rough premise. So we're going to talk about the movie now. So, spoilers going on ahead.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to have a spoiler section because I don't think we need one.
No, I don't think so. I just want to put this out here that, A, going into this film, you're not really supposed to know much about the creeper.
Yeah.
In fact, for the first, 45 minutes, for all intents and purposes, it could be a dude.
It is just a dude for the first 45 minutes, basically.
But, it's shot in such a way that you might even think it's just a person.
Yeah.
They don't show any monstrous features or anything like that. So I do want to point this out here that, obviously, by watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, you have that spoiled.
Sure.
Which kind of sucks, but
But you don't know what the creeper does.
Or what it is exactly.
Or what it is. So I would say if you haven't seen this movie and you want to see it, go watch it.
Yeah, just for that reason alone. Besides from that, though, do you have anything specific you want to talk about? Because I know for me, the most interesting part of this movie is the creeper.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I just want to discuss him, but I say we do that last.
Sure, we'll save the creeper for last.
Because that's kind of pretty spoilery for this whole film.
Yeah, and it's also, I would say, my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, it's the best part of the movie. Because overall, I'm going to put this out here, the film's kind of generic.
It's fine.
That's kind of my big problem with it overall.
But the thing is, none of it is bad.
No, not bad, but it's just par for the course except for the creeper.
Which is what makes it good.
The creeper is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly unique, but interesting.
Interesting in a very different way than I expected.
So, do you just want to take us off with something that isn't the creeper?
Yeah, we can start with the fact that you mentioned it when we started the movie. I don't know if this was shot on film or not, but the whole movie has a very grainy old school film style to it.
Yeah, there's some weird vibe to the cinematography that looks
it's cool.
Like, I don't know, old movies from, I'd say, the 60s or the 70s.
Yeah, but I like it.
Oh, I like it.
And it adds a lot of it adds character to it in a way that I didn't expect. And it was really nice.
It's not really noticeable in the later halves of the film, I think, because it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
But in those first opening shots,
yeah,
this straight up looks like something out of the 70s. Because they're driving what? Is that a Chevy Impala?
I think so.
And, they're in the middle of the countryside, so nothing looks modern.
No.
And with this, grainy aesthetic, and some of the colors are a little bit odd, weird saturation. To me, it straight up looks like a scene out of, a Texas Chainsaw film.
Maybe. I've never seen Texas
I know.
Chainsaw.
It just, appearance-wise.
Okay.
Not shot framing, but, the coloration and the film stuff. It's just a very interesting film that makes it look... I'm pretty sure it's set in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Derry.
Yeah.
Weirdest name ever.
Well, it's like a nickname for Darius.
I know, but Derry. I keep wanting to call him Gary.
You kept doing that during the movie.
But the brother of the two siblings, Derry, has a cell phone.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the early 2000s, and I do think it's 2001, but a lot of the film looks like it could be older than that.
But I think that's due to where the movie is set, specifically in the middle of bumfuck Bible Belt, Florida.
Yeah, but also just the aesthetic of just that cinematography, I think.
Yeah, no. And I like it. That's the one thing I will say about this movie. I didn't expect it to be so well shot. Like, there are some really, really cool scenes. Like, lighting-wise and shot-wise. It is very well made.
Yeah.
Which is something I wasn't expecting coming in, because coming off of, like, what was the Rotten Tomato audience score? Like, 40?
About a 50 for
50?
each.
And, like, much better than a 50, in my opinion.
Yeah, for that, at least.
Yeah, for that aspect.
The other thing I want to mention right off the bat, Jeepers Creepers, good song.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like the utilization of it during the film.
I think we'll talk about the utilization when we talk more about the creature. But yeah, I really like the utilization of the song. They have a couple different versions of it.
Yeah.
But it's a good choice. Like, it's kind of unsettling.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
Especially when used in context correctly.
Another thing I really fucking liked about this movie is, I didn't really know I knew where it was set, but I didn't really know where we were going to end up, like location-wise. They go to a couple of different pretty cool places that I wasn't really... The film takes place over, 12 hours, maybe?
Roundabouts.
And you see them go a couple of different cool places, and I like the film's progression of, like, it kind of feels like you're on a road trip.
Yeah, you're constantly moving, like,
Which
forward.
Is cool. Because, I'm going to be honest, when they go back to the pipe to investigate, I went, oh, this is going to be the rest of the movie. Like, this pipe.
Down in the pipe hole.
Down in the pipe hole around this church. No, it's cool that you get to go other places and you see some unique locations. I'm trying to think of what else I want to talk about before we get to the monster.
Before we do the monster, we can do the issues with this film.
Sure.
But before we do the issues, I think we should mention, I think the relationship between the two siblings is pretty good.
Oh, I guess we could talk about, no, that's good. I liked it. It's well done.
Darian, what's the sister's name?
Trisha.
They have a nice sibling relationship. It just feels kind of real.
No, it really does.
Bob, at one point, was like, that's me and my sister on a road trip.
Oh, yeah, because, my aunt lives like 2 hours away. And that's like some of our nearest family besides our parents. And so, when we go down there, first of all, I said this to Ben, I make my sister drive because I don't want to. Also because their car's nicer than mine. And that's exactly how we act when we drive down there.
They were doing like license plate games and
just like fucking with each other and like egging each other on over dumb shit.
Just doing the nah
thing. Absolutely, I do that to my sister.
So yeah, that's the last good thing I have about this film besides the creeper.
Oh really?
Yeah, basically.
While we're on the topic of Trisha and Derry, Justin Long does a really good job in this movie.
Oh yeah,
and so does the girl that plays Trisha. I don't remember her name.
No, they both do a good job.
They both do really, really good job. I don't think any of the acting is like that bad.
No,
I don't have any problems really.
I do think out of the two main characters, Justin Long gives the stronger emotional performance though.
Yeah.
But then again, his character feels more emotionally invested.
Yeah, he also like they're the main characters, but he feels like the main character.
Yeah. And he has a pretty good emotional range, I think, overall.
Yeah, no, he's top tier.
That being said, you ready to get into some negative points?
Yeah, what do you got, Ben? Hit me.
Okay. Some of the dialogue's real bad. Just like, and I think it's not necessarily like the dialogue in general, so much as it's how some of the dialogue kind of works in conjunction with some of the scenes.
Yeah? Okay.
Long story short, there's a lot of parts in this movie that feel kind of cheesy to me.
Yeah.
And just not too great.
See, I like the cheese.
I guess, but this is not supposed to be a cheesy monster movie. It's supposed to be a serious monster movie.
I mean, I guess, but...
And that's, like, not intentional. There's just a couple times where, like, some of the acting and dialogue just feels kind of clunky.
Can you give me, like, I need examples so I can think about it. Because I noticed it, but I liked it.
I don't know. It's just, like, not necessarily bad, but there's a couple scenes, especially when Trish and Derry are interacting with the older woman. What's her name? Not the cat lady.
I think she's just called the cat lady. I think that's what
I just literally just said not the cat lady.
Oh, Jez.
Yeah, a lot of that feels unnatural.
Really?
Yeah, especially Trish's reactions of like leave the crazy lady alone who's clearly psychic. I don't know. It's also my issue of a lot of the characters in this movie I feel make dumb decisions.
No, that's fair. That is totally fair.
I think maybe that's where I'm coming from of this fact that like I don't understand why the characters are acting certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so their acting doesn't seem to feel right. I think that's probably what the issue is. Because, like, performance-wise, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
It's more of, like, why are you behaving that way? So, like, why is this conversation happening this way? But, again, bigger point here, characters make dumb decisions in this movie.
Yeah, characters are real dumb.
Like, I think that's probably my biggest issue with the entire film overall.
No, yeah, and I totally get that.
It's just, I mean, obviously there's that one we already talked about. They go back to explore this pipe.
Yeah.
Of this murderer.
Which is stupid.
Who just ran them off a road. Which is dumb, but I at least get that. It's the decisions after that get increasingly stupid. Like,
yeah,
they'll get hunted down and then they won't run away. They'll just stand and watch this creeper do creepy things.
Yep.
Or, well, they do that a couple times. Or just, like, double tapping a creature instead of just driving away.
Yep, and just getting away from it so it can't kill you.
I'm always for double tapping a monster, but when you double tap it like 6 times,
and then it's like, okay, well,
instead of driving away,
yeah,
but you double tapped it so much your car's about to break down, that's an issue.
That's dumb.
And so I think what I was trying to get at is I think it bleeds into some of the dumb behaviors bleed into the characters, like acting, and it makes some of their decisions feel less believable.
No,
from like an acting standpoint.
No, yeah, I totally get that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it like that, but the
example I'm trying to get at is later in the movie, there's this one character that's trying to help out the siblings, and Derry's very scared, but he kind of hears her out, and then this character presents enough proof where he believes her, but the whole time Trish is just kind of like, no, she's crazy, don't listen to her. Which I think the intent there is that Trish is in kind of shock and she doesn't want to believe this other character.
I don't know.
But it doesn't really come across. It just comes across like she's super aggressive and contrarian.
I mean, I think the big thing there is Trish didn't see everything that Derry saw.
No, but she heard all the evidence that Derry got that lines up.
But also she didn't hear everything that the lady said on the phone either, because the whole time Derry had it. So it's very much this thing of like...
But she heard her right then as she's telling her all these things.
Yeah, but...
that she shouldn't know.
Believing all that crazy shit.
At this point, they had already seen a monster. This is the least crazy thing that has happened that night.
Yeah, but why would you believe some lady who just came out of the blue with information like that? You know what I mean? I think it's totally
Why
believable.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? It's just, again, I don't know, character decisions don't
I just
seem
think
to line
she's
up.
more, I don't want to say, like, grounded than Derry, because Derry's seen a lot more shit.
I think she's
at that
less
point.
grounded.
Really?
Yeah, she's disassociating from reality, because reality is crazy.
I don't know. I think it's totally believable for her to, like, think she's being a maniac, because she kind of is. I mean, she is.
I mean, a little bit.
Because you even said it. You were like, in this situation, maybe I would believe her, but I feel like she just doesn't understand the gravity of what's happened so far.
Who, Trish?
Yeah.
She killed someone with her car that had bat wings.
Well, a single bat wing.
If you don't understand the gravity of that situation, it's kind of this point of her behavior at that point in the film doesn't line up with, I just ran over something. Anyways, stupid decisions in this movie, which just a writing problem, I think, is what I'm getting at.
I mean, that's fair.
Because, again, I don't think it's the acting so much that's an issue. It's some of the lines and behaviors. And that's really, I think, the big thing that brings this film down overall. It makes it kind of meh. Just a lot of the situations feel like, why did you end up here?
They feel forced.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
And that's kind of, I think, the big thing holding it back. That being said, the good thing of this film, the thing that keeps it going, is the creature.
Yeah, man.
The creeper's great. So we're just going to talk about that now, right? You good with that?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover before we get to the creeper. We could talk about gore and practical stuff before we get to creeper, if you want.
It's all right. It's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, it's fine. I expected it to be a lot more bloody and gross. I'm gonna be totally honest.
You're biased because you saw 2 seconds of the second movie.
No, and I know that's what I'm saying. Like, going in, I expected it to be a lot more violent and gross and bloody, but like,
there's some interesting corpse shots, but it's not bloody.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not disgusting or anything like that. It's almost, I don't want to say body horror, but sort of. Like, there's some gross stuff. But I guess my thing is I expected a lot more people to get murked.
Nope, it's like 5 or 6.
It's not that many, and that's kind of cool. Especially in a monster movie, right?
Yeah.
Because in a monster movie, you expect slaughter. This doesn't have that, which is kind of refreshing. I'm going to be real. Now we can move on to the creature.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was important.
Fair enough. So, the creeper's kind of weird because you don't get really any explicit information.
No.
Really, all the information you get in this movie is stuff you can gather from, like, context clues and observations. So, I'm just going to give you kind of a rundown I got from the movie. If Bob has anything to add, he can add it. But I think it should be pretty straightforward. Basically, he's a demon thing.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to describe him. In the way, he kind of looks like a gargoyle.
Kind of. Yeah, that's actually a good comparison.
But he's very human looking, but he has like gray skin. And it looks almost like stone-like.
Yeah.
That's what I would describe it as. But he eats people. I want to say he's a cannibal because he's humanoid, but obviously it's not cannibalism. I don't think he's a human.
He's definitely not a human.
Or if he was at one point, he's definitely not
now.
Anymore.
Yeah.
But the creeper eats people. And so very interestingly, it acts as it's essentially like an ambush predator.
Kind of,
like,
yeah.
It disguises itself as a human being to basically, I don't know, trick people.
Yeah.
Into letting their guard down. Because a human is a lot less intimidating than weird gargoyle monster.
Mm-hmm.
It does this through 2 ways. It wears clothes.
Yeah.
Which are very specifically kind of like a baggy robe thing.
It's like a trench coat.
Which I think is specifically chosen so he can move around very easily in it. And then a very big hat, so it hides its face. It's overall like kind of an intimidating outfit from a distance.
Cool outfit, yeah.
It's pretty cool. And then the creeper also drives a car, which is so interesting.
Weird.
Because it doesn't necessarily seem to be like of human intelligence.
No, well,
it's very smart.
It is really smart.
But it has I would argue probably a very alien psychology.
Yeah.
Almost like a very intelligent predatory animal.
Kinda.
And so the fact that it can drive a car seems kind of incongruous.
Okay.
Now, the thing I want to bring up really quick, because I didn't think Bob caught it, and if he caught it right now, we'll see. The license plate on the car, right?
Yeah.
Beating you.
Yeah.
It's not beating you.
It's being you.
No.
What is it?
It's eating you.
Eating. Oh, yeah, okay. Cool.
They call it out in the film. The one lady, the older woman.
Jez?
Says, the license plate, think about it.
Yeah. So this is a very while we're on the topic of the creeper driving, could you imagine being a cop and pulling the creeper over?
You die.
When you almost done the window, what do you say?
Oh.
License and registration, please?
I think you just walk away. I think you go, bye.
That's so fucking funny. That was why I was
wondering why you're laughing.
I was laughing because I was imagining a cop rolling up to that big ass fucking Mad Max-esque rust bucket. It just rolling down the window. It's just a creeper.
It's a cool car, though.
Oh, it's such a cool vehicle. It is a little bit ludicrous. I'm gonna be honest,
but it's almost as cool as the creeper.
Almost,
like the car is its own character. But, anyways, creeper's an ambush predator. It eats people. It disguises itself as a human, and the way it just finds its prey is by smell. It seems.
Yeah.
It decides whether it wants to eat you based on your fear. So it very specifically seems like it wants to make you afraid, and then by the smell of your fear, it can determine if you're a good meal or not.
Yeah, which is a weird,
It's cool. It shows it's, picky in a way that's instinctual.
Yeah.
That's not a conscious thing. There's some really cool scenes where it'll leave people alive.
Mm-hmm.
Not because that's the smart thing to do, but because it's I don't have a reason to kill you. You're not food.
Yeah.
Which is, again, very animalistic in a way you don't expect from a thing like this.
Exactly. That's what's cool about it.
You normally expect a creature and a creature feature to just slaughter.
Exactly.
Without thought. And so for it to be pickies, it's interesting.
It's a good spin on it. I like it a lot.
But the most interesting part of this creature, by far, I think, is that it's kind of like a cicada.
Oh.
in the sense that it hibernates for basically 23 years.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And every 23 years, it wakes up for 23 days.
Yep.
And so it's only awake very infrequently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time it feeds. And this is where we get into the other cool reason of why it feeds, and that's to keep itself alive.
Mm-hmm.
From what we can tell in the plot, it eats specific body parts from its intended victims to replace the ones on its own body.
Yeah.
And it's not said outright, but the implication I have is that over the 23 years that it's in hibernation, its body rots and turns to dust.
Yeah.
And so it has to replace it for fresh stuff for the next cycle. Assumedly, if it didn't do it, it would probably die permanently.
Probably.
Just from disappearing. Although I assume the rotting slows down a lot during the hibernation process. But yeah, that's a really cool thing. It's very obviously probably inspired by It from Stephen King. Have you ever read It?
Never read it.
Have you seen any of the stuff?
I've seen the 2 new movies.
Okay. Well, the premise of that movie is it wakes up every couple decades.
Yeah, okay.
And it feeds for a set period of time and then
Yeah,
goes
that
back
makes
to
sense.
sleep. It's a very similar thing. But again, I think the unique part is it feeds to replace parts of its body.
Yeah, and that's what's cool is it makes it have a different motivation that isn't
Hunger?
just being hungry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's looking for specific parts that it wants.
It's super cool, especially because there's parts in the movie where they play around with the fact that, it's injured now.
Yep.
And so it has to replace body parts.
So you'll come upon corpses that are missing the specific part that they had injured previously when they fought it.
Yeah.
Just super cool, attention to detail stuff like that. That's really fun.
Now, that's basically the creature as a whole. There is, however, one extra element I do want to mention here because I don't know where to fit it in otherwise. Because it's a weird addition to this movie, admittedly. But there's a weird supernatural thing going on in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically with the character that I keep forgetting her name.
Jez.
Jez is like a psychic.
Yeah.
Who gets premonitions. It seems to be specifically related to the creeper, from what we can tell.
Yeah.
But she gets basically this knowledge that's assumedly always correct, even though no one seems to believe her. I think because what she tends to say is both ludicrous sounding and also tends to be very unpleasant.
Yeah.
And so people just don't want to believe it, which is kind of sad for her. But, she's related to this whole, I don't know, magical element of the story. Because the creeper's obviously, a magical monster thing.
Yeah, he has to be. He's fucking crazy.
But it's very down-to-earth in a non-magical way.
It's very, sci-fi-esque.
Yeah, where it's an alien monster. But it's kind of just interesting to have this more magical element of, there's a psychic. And I think the best part of that addition is the Jeepers Creepers song.
Yeah.
We mentioned it earlier. I think the addition of it's really cool for some thematic moments. But it's this very cool, magical thing in the background. In fact, I think it's probably the best part of the Creeper's characterization. Basically, whenever this character comes around, the Creeper, and if you're anywhere near a device that can play music, like a radio or something, the Jeepers Creepers song just magically seems to come on.
It's cool.
And it's really, really cool, and it's really interesting because we also hear the Creeper listening to it a couple times.
He whistles it at one point.
Whistling it. And it's just such an unusual but interesting tale. And I just really like it.
No, I like it too. It gives the Creeper characterization.
Yeah.
That I don't know what it adds. I couldn't tell you, but it's just interesting.
And that's the whole thing. This whole psychic thing and this whole Jeepers Creepers song, not sure what it adds, except for the fact that it tells me that this isn't just a biological monster. It's probably a
supernatural thing.
Supernatural force. But I do think it's an interesting thing.
No, it's definitely cool.
From that, I don't have much to mention about the monster. It's got bat wings.
It's got bat wings, which
They're
are cool.
And these weird spider face thing.
Yeah, that shit was creepy.
Also
that shit
freaky.
is fucking freaky.
But aside from that, it's just it's a cool monster because you don't know a lot about it. And it does a good job of explaining it without expedition dumping.
Which is something I was a little worried about.
On that note, though, recommendations, you think?
Nah, I got one more thing.
Oh.
I got 2 more
Bob,
things.
I need you to organize your mind better.
I
Just
hadn't
hit
thought
me
about
that
these
with the
things
1,
until
2,
just
3,
now.
so we can end on a high note.
Before we go, I want to talk about stunts. This movie has some cool stunts that make the fucking Creeper awesome.
They're cool. They're not the best stunts ever.
No, but they're...
They're very, early 2000s stunts.
Yeah.
Where, like, I could tell that man's on a wire.
For sure. But what's cool about them is you don't need them in this film. Like, I think the entire film is fine without the stunts. But the stunts on top just add extra shit. You know what I mean? They're just fun.
Yeah, it definitely goes to show, like, how scary the creeper is.
Yeah, and it adds intimidation factor to the creeper himself.
Like, at one point, he just jumps over a car. Why? Just 'cause.
Why not? He does a fucking sick-ass backflip. It's awesome. I just wanted to mention that this movie adds extra shit that it doesn't need to, and stunts is one of them, and I like the stunts. I think they're fun. One more thing, and this is actually a bad thing and something I don't like. I kind of wish, and this is something that maybe I'm reading too much into it, right? This movie's definitely set in, like, the Bible Belt, because when they're driving down...
Oh, if anyone doesn't know what the Bible Belt is, southern United States near, like, the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, like, Florida, Alabama, Georgia.
Georgia, yeah. Because they, like, come across, like, they're playing, like, music on the radio.
They turn on an AM.
And it's
like,
all, like, preachers.
Yeah.
The creeper's hideout is set in a church.
Mm-hmm. An old abandoned church.
I wish there had been maybe some tie-ins to that as sort of like an explanation for the supernatural elements of the creature. Like, I don't know. I feel like there was something there that they could have done something with.
That they just didn't explore.
But I think that would add more to the movie.
I don't know. I feel like that might ruin the creature's mystique.
Really?
Because I kind of like that it's an abandoned church, and there's some weird, maybe magical stuff down in the basement.
Yeah.
Like some carvings and also the wall people.
Mm-hmm.
But then not explaining it, because it's like, you've just given me the hint that there's something in, like, that's happened before.
Yeah.
But that's the past. It's already gone, and we have to worry about the present right now.
I don't know. That just feels like something that was in the early script that they left in and then didn't fuck with.
It does feel like that, but what I will say, I think the film works well without exploring that, as the film is now. And maybe that's a little plot thread to explore later down the line.
That would be cool. If they do that in later films, I'm complaining for no reason. Just saying.
Or you could get the expedition dump and be like, oh, I hate this.
Ugh.
Yeah, see, it's the double-edged sword.
Yeah. I don't know. That was like my only big thing was like, I wish that they had done something with that.
I think it is the issue, though, of all that explanation with the church would have been like explaining where the creeper comes from.
Yeah.
I don't want that, really. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really want that
care.
either, but I
think the only interesting implication is that maybe he cleared out this church, and that's why it's abandoned.
Ooh.
And that's its own scary thing, right?
That is its own separate thing, yeah.
Because he definitely had to squat there for 23 years.
Oh, yeah, he definitely had to have been squatting there for 23 years.
No one went in there and checked and found him, like, hibernating. But also no one found his pile of dead bodies for 23 years.
You know what I just thought about? You know when those people died from the story they tell? 78. It's been exactly... They timed it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's spot on. It's the little things, man.
I mean, it's pretty easy. They just chose whatever date they wanted.
I mean, yeah. But, I don't know. I guess
you don't have to do that.
My brain didn't connect that until just now. I didn't think about it.
All right. Are you actually ready to go to the recommendations now?
Why are you... Yes, I am.
Okay. You start, Bob.
If you want a cool, interesting monster movie, this is a cool, interesting monster. That's the big thing about this film is, it is, at its heart, a monster film, but it does a lot of really cool things to make it interesting and cool. If you want a good brother-sister movie, I like Justin Long and the person that plays Trisha. Why can't I remember her name ever? They do a really good, back-and-forth brother-sister thing.
Her name's Gina Phillips.
Her. Really great. Love them both in this film. Very fun. If you want a low gore, not gross horror movie, it's pretty okay for that. There's one thing in particular that I think is pretty gross, but it's really not that bad.
It's also kind of CGI.
Is it?
Which one are you referring to? Yeah, it's CGI.
Really? I couldn't tell. Yeah, I couldn't tell at all.
Yeah, it's totally CGI.
I didn't notice.
Oh, okay. Well, the gore around it and stuff.
Yeah. Still cool. But that's the only really bad thing. So if you're into scary movies and you don't really like blood and guts, not a very bloody or gross film. If you like Justin Long, I like Justin Long. He's great.
That's fair.
I like him in this. No, he's really, really good in this movie. I think he does a really good job. If you're into the early 2000s, early 2000s scary movie. This is like great for that. It has a very, I said this to Ben, it has a very early 2000s vibe, but in like the best way possible. And I don't know how to explain that, but it does.
Fair enough.
That's it.
Okay. I really only have two major recommendations for this film. The first one is if you want to see kind of a unique creature that isn't like a vampire or like a traditional demon or something like that.
Yeah.
This is kind of its own thing, and it definitely takes inspiration from a lot of different classic like humanoid monsters, and combines them together into something you don't really see. As for my other main recommendation, if you kind of are after like a lone kind of highway sort of horror story, that's kind of what this has the vibe of, especially the early scenes when you get a lot of the creepers, probably a dude in a truck.
Yep.
That's what it feels like. You can really feel those dual inspirations there. Bob doesn't know what that is.
Yep.
If you do, you got that. So yeah, that's really the recommendations, I think. Getting into ratings, do you want to slap a review?
So, I like this film. I'm just going to put that out there. I think it's pretty good. It was surprising and very different than what I expected, so I don't know where my scale starts, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know what to base a 3 on, which is generally where we put, like, a movie's hits all the marks we want from it.
Yeah.
But I had a good experience. I think the monster's sick as fuck. The performances are all good. There are only a few catch-ups on, like, the writing and maybe some of the story elements that aren't amazing. 3.5. I like this film. I think it's really fun. I think it's a really good time.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with a 3. And I was kind of behind between like a 3 and a 3.5. But at the end of the day, I think there's some parts of this film that are really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Most specifically, the thing that stands head and shoulders over everything else is the creeper.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's really great. But kind of aside from the creeper and some of the early scenes in this movie, the rest of it's, I don't know, it just doesn't really stand out.
No, I mean,
like,
that's fair. It's kind of generic.
It's overall just very generic. And combine that with the characters making very frustrating decisions.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of the movie, I wouldn't necessarily say boring, but kind of like a slog to watch.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really keeps it very interesting is that the creeper. And I do think both of those factors really even each other out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it keeps it from being really, really good, but it also keeps it from being really, really bad. And so I think it just kind of ends up about middle of the road. So a 3, I think, is pretty fair.
Yeah. I will say, we didn't really talk about it. I like the end of this movie.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
I think it's a really solid ending.
They try to set up a nice little twist there.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's pretty effective the first time you watch it.
Yeah, man. I didn't expect it. It was cool.
And then on the second watch, it's less effective, but in the way where it's like you can tell it's coming, which is good. I
want to say this before we move on to the outro. And you mentioned it at the start of this episode. You're like, I didn't really know what to put in this category, how to define it. This is exactly what I wanted from Neo Monster movies. Like, genuinely. Like, you did a really good job.
That's good, because it's what you got.
I know. No, this was, like, perfect for what I wanted. It's not a Universal monster movie, but it's not something... It's a unique take on a ridiculous monster. I loved it. So, good job on picking this movie.
Are you going to do this for the next 2 weeks? Knock it out?
No.
Then we can just be the old movie podcast the rest of the season. Could be cool.
Oh, my God. Okay.
All right, guys. We're going to go to the outtakes, and then we'll be right back.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Jeepers Creepers so far. I like this film. I think it's super fun. I think it's a really, really fun way to start the season. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is our reaction to seeing the Creepers vehicle for the very first time. Oh my God. Holy shit. No, car, please. Oh my God. What the that looks like a fucking doom crawler from Star Wars.
It's a cool car.
It's a fucking wild-looking truck. Like, what is that? That thing looks crazy. It's almost Mad Mask-esque.
I would get out of that fucker's way.
Oh, yeah, but where's he going to go? Like, into the street? Or
no,
like
you
the
just
field?
get in the other lane and you brake.
This next clip is a short conversation about birds that Ben and I had during the film.
Why would I deny birds? Birds are real. The government has trained them.
Oh.
It has a highly trained network of bird psychics.
Bird psychics.
They communicate with the birds, partially through psychic communication, and also because crows can talk.
And so can parrots.
Not as well as crows and ravens.
Really?
Have you ever heard a raven speak?
No.
You know how like a parrot sounds weird?
Yeah, a parrot sounds like a parrot.
Ravens sound like people.
Fuck that.
Like literally.
If a bird ever walked up and started talking to me, I would punch that little bitch in its beak.
Like legitimately like a person.
Nah, fuck that. This next clip is our reaction to what the creeper uses to line the walls of his lair. Either there's something leaking from the ceiling or there's something leaking on the ceiling.
Well, let's find out.
Sense. Oh my God. This next clip is my reaction to learning that the creeper is so much more than just a man. What the fuck? What? What is going on right now? I thought the creeper was a dude. Why does he have a wing? This next clip is me getting frustrated at a character for not understanding the consequences of their own actions. Well, when you fucking do a burnout every single time you fucking drive it and put it in fucking forward, you dumb idiot. Oh, my first car's gonna go. Because you drive like a fucking maniac. This next clip is our reaction to seeing the creeper in its true form for the very first time in the film.
That's just clothes. Nothing freaky about that.
Oh, is that what it looks like when it's not dressed up as a man? It's eating some dude. Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. I don't know how many there were, but there are definitely some. I think I actually kind of got scared in this movie.
Maybe once or twice.
Not really that scared, but like good jump scare bits. Lots of ooze. That creature's gross. The creeper's a fucking freak. Ugh. Do we have any announcements, Ben?
Yeah, we got actually 2 for once.
Oh man, these are the things we were talking about. I've been talking about for weeks
That
on the
happened
episodes
in
about
October.
behind the scenes content.
The first one that's going to happen, mostly because I know we're going to record it first, is on the 31st, so Halloween. We're doing a award show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Halloween Horror Awards.
Yes.
And basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at all the movies we watched up to season 5.
Yeah.
So everything Scream and earlier
Mm-hmm.
is going to go on a big list of movies, and we're going to do a bunch of different categories and kind of choose our favorite for all those categories for like different awards and stuff.
Yeah, it's basically going to be like our yearly award show, and instead of doing like a Halloween holiday episode, you're going to get that instead.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like a celebration of, you know, doing a year of the podcast.
Yeah.
Plus, it lets us kind of go over, I think, our big recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
And
of course.
I think what I'm thinking we might do is maybe review like our reviews for everything. Maybe like touch on like, oh, this was a 4.
Yeah.
That was a 5. So maybe a nice little summary episode if you don't want to listen to like 93 movies worth of content.
It's a lot. It's a lot of movies. It's a lot of content.
So that's kind of like the first thing, and that is definitely the much bigger announcement.
Yeah, for sure.
The second announcement is, if you should know this by now, we're going to a convention in October, so this month. And when we get back from that, I think the plan is to do a kind of convention summary episode.
Yeah.
To kind of talk about and like what we did there. Just because we might have more to say than feels comfortable putting on just a regular episode.
Yeah, because it would make, I feel like we would front load like a whole episode with an extra 30 or 40 minutes of content when it should just be its own thing.
So we're going to kind of separate that into its own thing. So that'll be coming out at some point.
Yeah, we'll let you know when it's recorded and coming out beforehand. But
I'm not
you know.
sure. I'd guess it's going to come out after the horror awards.
Probably sometime in November.
But it theoretically could have come out right before.
Maybe.
We'll see. Aside from that, though, we don't have any other announcements for right now. So, the usual spiel. Go check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get your podcasts. Where you're listening right now. That's probably pretty good bet. We're also on YouTube if you want to check us out there. It's kind of a weird platform to listen to podcasts on, but it's kind of nice because we can see your support there. Likes, subscriptions. Those are really nice because it tells us basically how many people are listening. It's also one of the 2 major places to communicate with us. You can do that in the comment section of a specific video if you have something like you actually want to talk to us about in that video, or you can go over to X and go exit Bob about how you really like his eyes and how pretty they are.
Oh, God. Oh,
just
God.
Like pop them in your mouth.
Ugh. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter. It's not X. I don't care. I don't care how many times you call it X on the podcast. I'm not. Stop Stop miming X at me like a freak. Check us out on Twitter at Beware the Board. It's where I post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you want to know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that Friday's episode, which is basically a hidden movie cover that you can reveal so you can watch the movie before we do. So when if you listen to the episodes, you don't get any spoilers, and we're being really vague about stuff, you kind of know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whenever the episode goes live, I post a link to the episode with maybe a meme if something was funny. Dude, that meme you made for Scream made me laugh so hard, genuinely. I thought it was so good.
Oh, did you actually?
Yes.
I was kind of like, oh, this is okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. Anyway.
That's the mental health issue. It's making you laugh.
Maybe. So if you miss an upload or want to know when something went up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Check us out on YouTube Shorts and at Beware the Board on TikTok. We're doing short form content again. I think with this new style that we've hopefully released by the time
it's
this
so
comes
much
out,
better.
I'm going to make more. I'm going to try and do an actual scheduled release for those.
It's harder, but it's better.
It's harder, but it's more
engaging,
but also I like making it way more.
There you go.
So I feel like I can actually keep up with a release schedule. So I'm going to say this on the podcast so I'm held accountable. I'm going to try and do Monday, Wednesday short form, and then Friday episodes.
That's a lot.
Two shorts a week, and then, our normal episode of the podcast.
I guess, but sometimes we do doubles.
Well, on those weeks, I'll just suffer.
Or triples.
On those, that's only happened once.
Or quadruples.
No, twice. I lied. Twice. It's happened twice. In both of those times, one of those movies in each of those 3 sucked ass.
Yeah.
Yeah?
On that note, though, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, we'll go see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.